And it's a big issue that's taking place in America today. We also have our country's national debt, which is actually increasing at a rapid rate. If you go to the usdebtclock.org right now, go to usdebtclock.org right now, and you'll see that our country's national debt have surpassed over $25 trillion and is growing rapidly. So what are we going to do? Right? What are we going to do to make a difference, to make an impact, to make a change? So what we have done to really help families with this issue is to seriously, we sit down with families, right? We sit down with families on a one-on-one basis, and we start teaching them finance 101. So every time we sit down with a family, we share with them how to save their future, and we teach them, the basic principles of how to build a strong financial foundation. The other thing that we teach in families is about, how they can get access to more information, more strategies. That's why we invite them to our workshops. So that way families will come and learn through our Financial Foundation educational program. And we're going to tell you more about this as well. What the workshop have entail, what are some of the things that we're teaching you. So like I said, if you're here taking good notes, please take really good notes, because it's going to be a lot of great information. So what sparked this revolution? What was it that sparked our revolution? And it was according to a recent survey where they said that North Americans are facing serious financial challenges. And when you look in Canada, Canada, they talked about the fact that 35% of Canadians do not have any savings and investment. They said that only 27% of private sector workers have employers funded pension plan. And the fact that the average savings in a registered retirement savings plan is only $55,000. So when you look at these numbers, you may say, wow, Canada may be in a lot of bad shape. But let's talk about what's going on in the US, where they said that the picture is even gloomier compared to Canada. Now, think about the fact that 33% or more than 77 million Americans don't pay their bills on time. Think about the fact that 39% carry credit card debt from month to month, and only 59% of adults say they have savings. Did you know that worse, more than half now think it's acceptable to default their mortgages if they can't afford to pay it? This is the reality that we face today. So what are we going to do about these problems, right? I know we talk about this a lot. I know we hear this a lot. We probably hear it on the news. But my question to you is, what are we going to do? Because our campaign came up with a solution. We didn't want to keep talking about the problem. We didn't want to keep hearing about the bad news. We want to come up with real life solutions that can help. So we focus on teaching families 4 things. We teach them how to make money. We show them how to save their money. We teach them how to grow their money. And most importantly, we teach them how to protect their money. These are the 4 things that we sit down with every family. And today, I'm going to have the pleasure to tell you exactly how to do so. Because it's important for us to know what is it that we must do in order to win. So, in order for us to win the money game, we must learn how to have a financial goal and a financial plan. That's the problem. We do not have a goal and we don't have a plan. And that's why today we're going to talk about how you could do so. So let's talk about the goal. Now, the goal for every family that we sit down with is to create a financial foundation. And when we talk about creating a financial foundation, you got to think about it like you're building a house, and you got to build it from the ground up. So it starts with protection first, right? It starts with protection. When it comes to protection, you must have proper protection in the event of any disability, health problems, or even premature death. Now, what are the things that must you have in place in order to protect your family against these 3 events? So let's talk about premature death first, right? If you prematurely die, what are the 4 things you need to have in place? You must have a life insurance. That's 1, right? Number 2, you got to own a final expense insurance, right? And number 3, you got to own what's called a will and also a trust. These are the 4 things you should own, right? Because these things will help you to protect your family if you prematurely die. Now, if it comes to health problems, what must you understand about health insurance? You must understand the difference between HMO and PPO. You got to know the difference between the 2. You got to know what are the deductibles that come with this and what are some of the advantages of having a HMO and PPO, okay? Now, when it comes to disability, what must you have in place? You must also have something called long-term care in place. If you can't perform 2 daily acts of living, like take care of yourself, feed yourself, clothe yourself, you must have long-term care in place. So that's why you got to have the right protection for these 3 unexpected events that could happen in your lifetime. Now, when it comes to the next step we're going to help you with, we help you with learning how to manage your debt management. Now, when it comes to that, you should reduce your liability and get out of debt. We teach you how to do that. And one of the things that we teach families is how to pay down their debt and build up their credit at the same time. And the way you do so is by understanding that, hey, consolidation and bankruptcy is not the only way for you to make money or get rid of your debt. It is not the only way. You can learn how to pay down your debt with a simple strategy, and we'll show you how to do that as well. Another thing that we help families with is how to create an emergency fund. Now, when it comes to having an emergency fund, you should set aside 3 to 6 months of your income to deal with any sudden changes in your job or your business, or to pay unforeseen accidents, or to make repairs that may come out of nowhere, right? How many times you get a flat tire? You didn't plan for a flat tire, but do you have enough money to replace that flat tire, right? So that's why we teach you how to do that. And in order for you to learn how to create that emergency fund and how much should you put aside for emergency, we teach you a simple way how to budget, and we teach you a simple budgeting formula. But most importantly, when it comes to retirement or investing, right? When it comes to investment, you should save and invest for the long run. But in order for you to invest your money properly and learn how to invest, you must understand two things. You must know what is your tax tolerance, and you must know what is your risk tolerance. Many of us today do not know either one, and we want to make a lot of investment. So you got to know, what kind of investor are you? Are you the type of investor that say, hey, I know I'm an aggressive investor? Or do you know what is a moderate or a moderate growth investor? Or maybe you're conservative. What kind of investor are you? What kind of risk are you willing to take with when it comes to investment? And when it also comes to investment, what kind of tax tolerance do you have? Are you a taxable type of guy? Are you a tax deferred? Are you a tax advantage? How you want to be taxed on your investment when you need it? You got to pay attention to that as well, because those two things really help you to know. So all of these tasks is something that you should be done as soon as possible. So when we sit down with families, we teach them how to do these things, because society does not want you to learn how to create a financial goal. So the goal is to have a financial foundation, and a very strong one. But more importantly, let's talk about what is the plan, right? Because every great goal requires a plan. So the plan is to help you to understand how money works. And if you're going to understand how money works, you better learn the wealth formula. That's why we teach you the wealth formula. So at this moment, like I said, if you're taking good notes, write these things down. If you have questions, you can type them in the chat room, and we'll answer them as we go at the end. So as you look at the wealth formula, why is it called the wealth formula? Well, this formula can help you to build wealth. Now, that wealth, it doesn't matter. It could be a 6-figure wealth. It could be a 7-figure wealth. It could be an 8-figure wealth. It could be a 10-figure wealth. All of it depends on how you use the formula. So the formula says money plus time plus or minus rate of return minus inflation minus tax, and this is how it equals wealth. Now, in order for you to do this, we got to have a money talk. And today I'm going to break down to you the plan, which is the wealth formula. I'm going to break down with each section and how it works. So that's why people like Warren Buffett have been advising us for many years now. And he says, don't save what is left after spending, but we must spend what is left after saving. See, Warren Buffett was giving us a clue on what to do in order to find the first step in the wealth formula, which is the money, right? So let's break it down some more. How do we find the money? How do we help you? See, when we sit down with families, we're going to teach you guys, right? We're going to teach you how to pay yourself first. It's important for you to learn how to pay yourself first. It's important for you to learn how to set aside 5 to 10% of your income to save for the future. If possible, save 15% or more. You got to treat you like a bill. You got to pay you first, because that's your family's financial bill. You got to ask yourself this question. Doesn't it make sense to pay yourself first before you pay other people's bills? Is your cable TV really more important than your family's financial well-being? I hope not. So the other thing that we're going to teach you to do is buy only what you need, not what you want, but what you need. And if you are able to follow this and be coachable and teachable, we'll be able to help you to make some small changes that will actually, in the result, bring you big money. That's why when you look at it, that spending is a habit, but so is saving. And what if you could make small changes to your spending habits and just start saving $10 a day? Just $10 a day. If you was able to save $300 a month, and you did that for 30 years and got an average return of 8% over a 30-year period, you'd have over $447,000+. What if you was able to save $20 a day, $600 a month, 8% in 30 years? You have $894,000+. Guys, you got to realize that time is money. Time is money, but you got to understand that the more you procrastinate, it will become the enemy of your savings. So you got to realize that this is something serious, and that's why the wealth formula really works. Now, another thing, what it says on the wealth formula, it says plus or minus rate of return. Why? It's because the magic of compound interest. Now, did you know one of the most important discoveries in finance is something called the Rule of 72, which was created by Albert Einstein? And pretty much what it does, it shows you how to calculate the effect of compound interest with a very simple formula. Now, the formula says that if you take 72 and you divide it by the rate of return, the answer is the number of years it would take for your money to double for you or against you. So the Rule of 72 plays like a double-edged sword, where it does no real loyalty. You got to really pay attention to what interest you get on your money. Let me give you an example. Imagine you are 29 years old. You wanted to invest $10,000 one time. And when you reach age 65, when you're ready to retire, you want that money back to you. So if you was able to find somewhere where they gave you 4%, 72 divided by 4 equals 18. That money's now doubling every 18 years. So from 29 to 65, right, that 10,000 only go to $40,000 because the money only doubled twice in that lifetime from 29 to 65. Now, what if you was able to get 8%? 72 divided by 8 equals 9. Money doubling every 9 years, right? Money's doubling every 9 years. So from 29 to 65, that 10,000 would have only doubled only 4 times, and now that money would have grew to $160,000. But what if you was able to get 12%? 72 divided by 12, money will double every 6 years. So from 29 to 65, the money doubled only 6 times, and that 10,000 would have grown to $640,000. So when you see the difference between $10,000 at a 4% versus a 12%, that's a $600,000 difference. That's the reason why they said that, compound interest unveils two kind of people. It unveils people that understand how money works, but it also unveils that people that don't understand how money works and they end up working for money. But more importantly, you got to either understand what kind of interest you get on your credit card. What are the interests that you get on your mortgages? What are the interests that you have in your bank account? What is the interest on anything that's pertaining to interest? I want you to take 72, divide it by whatever that is, and that will determine how many years it takes for that money to double for you or against you. So you got to really pay attention to the interest. It doesn't matter what you make, and it doesn't matter what you earn or what you keep. It's the interest upon what you keep and earn that makes you money, and you got to pay attention to that. But more importantly, guys, you got to know why it says minus inflation on the wealth formula. And it's because inflation is known to be a silent killer. Did you know that inflation is the rise in the price of goods and services over time? Now, when the price increased, did you know that your purchasing power decreases? For example, if the inflation rate was at 3.5%, it means that your $100 today will only be worth $96.50 the next year. So if you're wondering, well, how does inflation work? Well, inflation happens when a country prints more money than it actually earns. If you're here in the States, it means that every time the Federal Reserve print money, it means that the result is that rich or poor, everyone will lose some value of their money. And that's why some people refer to inflation as a hidden tax system. That's why in the last 100 years, from 1914 to 2014, our U.S. inflation rate averaged 3.32%. So you probably wonder, well, what does that mean? What does that mean? Let me give you an idea. Imagine that we sat down today and you said, Keyon, I want to plan for when I want to retire at 65. And let's say that you plan to retire and you said, I want $4,000 as an income per month based upon what things cost me today, based on today's value of things, right? Now, 20 years gone by, right? Now you were 45 when you sat down with me, and now 20 years gone by. Now you're 65 later on, and inflation was at 3%, right? And then you guess what? You will now need $7,224 to have the same purchasing power at 65. Right? But you plan for that 45 at $4,000 a month. So the question is, are you prepared for that? Are you planning your retirement and keeping in fact that inflation and the cost of living may go up as the year progresses? This is why you got to really pay attention to things like this. Simple things like inflation, right, plays a very vital role in one's wealth building. Another thing that you got to really pay attention to is taxes, right? The fact that there's 3 ways your money get taxed when you need it. Now, if you understand taxes, guys, you know where to put your own money. This is not even no joke. I'm not even kidding you. All right? You got to really pay attention to where you put your money. Because 85% of the population put their money where they get taxed now. And this is in their checking account, savings account, CDs, stocks, and mutual funds. 10% of the population save where they get taxed later. And that's in their 401ks, their 403bs, their IRA, their SEP IRAs, annuities, and pensions. But you only got 5% of the population that is using or know how to use tax advantage bracket. This is where they use vehicles like a Roth IRAs or 529 college savings plan or municipal bonds and health savings account and life insurance and long-term care benefits. These vehicles give you what is known today as tax advantages. But what does it mean to be taxed now, later, and tax advantages? Let me break that down for you. So, to get tax now means that any earnings from your accounts, from these accounts, you must report and pay tax for the year, okay? So, let me give you an example. Any earnings from your savings account or CDs, that's known as certificates of deposits, any dividends from your stocks or your mutual funds, and money market funds, you must report and pay tax. Did you know that? And it's important for you to really know this. That money is also considered to be taxable. Okay, taxable money. Now, 10% of the population use tax later. Tax later, what does tax later mean? Tax later means that the money you put in is pre-tax money. And pre-tax money deposited in an account is money that you have not yet paid income tax on, but you'll definitely be paying taxes on it later on when you withdraw it. That's why these accounts are called tax deferred. And in the US, tax deferred commonly take the form of things like an IRA, 401ks, and 403bs. Now, you got to really pay attention to this. Now, let me give you some rules. What are the rules, right? Now, did you know when you begin to take your money out after 59 and a half, you will be taxed as ordinary income. But if you take the money out before 59 and a half, you will get a 10% penalty with a few exceptions in addition to paying taxes. Also, you can't keep your money there forever. You must start taking it when you reach 70 and a half. Now, let me break that down for you now. Now, due to the Secure Act that was passed January of this year, they moved the RMD age from 70 and a half to 72. Now, it's important for you to go find that out if they did that for you. Now, if you fail to take out the money by 70 and a half or 72, if they moved it yours, you will lose 50% of your money if you fail to do that, because they said that you failed to take out the required minimum distribution. How many of you knew that? Now, it's important that you do know that, and it's important for you to go do your homework, right? Now, why is only 5% of the population learn about tax advantage? And what does tax advantage mean? Tax advantage means you generally won't, listen to me now, you generally won't pay tax when you withdraw the money from your account. Now, tax advantage investment money is after tax money because you already pay taxes on it. So vehicles like a Roth IRA or 529 college savings plan or TFSA and life insurance, these are popular investment vehicles that get tax exempt distribution. So I want you to think about, when do you want to be taxed, before or after? Right? Should you avoid paying taxes now and defer it until later when you get old? Or should you pay taxes now and not worry about it in the future? The better question is, can you predict what taxes will be in the future? Can you predict what taxes will be in the future? And if you cannot predict what taxes will be in the future, I advise you to learn the 3 ways your money get taxed when you need it, which one is work best for you, right? So can you build wealth with this knowledge of information? Absolutely, you can. You can build wealth. You can build wealth if you understand how to create a financial foundation and how to use the wealth formula as a plan. Because at the end of the day, retirement saving and the wealth building is all a numbers game. And when it comes to the money plus time, plus or minus rate of return, minus inflation, minus tax, and how that equals wealth, always simply saying is that, hey, if you follow this game plan of spending less and saving more, that could help you. If you understand that invest your money long enough to allow the interest to compound and for the wealth to potentially build up, that can help you. If you understand that the rate of return is very important, what kind of interest are you getting on your money or against your money? Also, your money must earn a rate of return which is higher than what inflation is. And you also got to look for investment vehicles that have tax advantages. That's the reason why we know that when building your future and making financial decisions, you should ask these questions. When anybody comes to you to talk about finance and they want to invest you and tell you, you need to invest your money in this, you need to put your money here, you got to ask them these 4 questions. The 4 questions you must always ask is, number 1, can it potentially grow to achieve my goal where you tell me to put my money? Number 2, is my money going to be safe enough? Number 3, does my money have tax advantages? And number 4, does my money have proper protection? And if they tell you yes, your follow-up question should always be how. And if they tell you no, your follow-up question should be why not. I'd rather know why things work the way they do, and I also want to know why things don't work the way they do. It's important to know, because if you have a good answer to each of these questions, then you're likely moving in the right direction towards your goal. You see, growth is good, but managed growth is just way better. It's better to learn and understand. So that's why we help families to know what they need. And knowing what you need requires you to learn the Formula 10-20. Now, there was an article in the Financial Analyst Journal that suggests that Americans need to save more, and not just a little more, but vastly more. They're said to be assured of having enough money for a comfortable retirement. They advise you to have a total of 22 times your income by the time you retire. Thus, so if you make $50,000 a year, right, then your target retirement number should be at least $1.1 million, which is 22 times 50,000. So my question to you is, how on track are you to have at least $1 million in your portfolio, right? So here's the thing. They say many people today is going to live long lives, some to the age of 100. So the need going to be much bigger than we normally planned or thought. So the simplified things, they tell you to move that 22 times to 20 times your annual income for retirement. And as for protecting your family, many financial professionals like myself, we normally suggest that you need to have at least, 10 times your annual income in order to meet the insurance need for you and your family. So let me give you an example of what I mean by this. Let's say that you make $50,000 a year, right? Then your life insurance need to be at least $500,000, because this amount of money would allow the surviving spouse to take care of your children for the next 10 years or more, and giving them enough time to make that transition of you passing. So if you die too soon, you need to have at least 10 times your income in life insurance protection. But if you live too long, you need to have at least 20 times your annual income for your retirement to have a comfortable retirement. That's why we always ask families, do you know your FIN number? Do you know your FIN number? And more importantly, do you know the dime method? That's these two things that help you. If you don't know either one, that's why we teach you the 10-20 formula. So at the end of the day, is money controlling you, or do you control your money? Let's be realistic for a second. Is money controlling you, or do you control your money? Do you feel like it's a 50-50 fight? Do you sometimes feel like, man, it's a 60-40 where you're the 40 and the money's winning 60% of the time, right? You got to really take control of this thing. So that's the reason why you got to learn how to create a financial foundation and use the wealth formula as your plan. You need a goal and a plan. And that's the reason why with our financial foundation educational program, you're going to learn some of the following things. You will learn how to make money work better for you. You can find and save more money. You'll get to understand investment and how to build wealth. You will learn how to protect and preserve your money. That's why in our workshops, we teach you how to increase your cash flow. We teach you how to build a strong financial foundation. We help you to learn about asset accumulation. You learn about retirement planning, wealth preservation, building wealth, proper protection, debt management, and elimination. You learn about all these things in our workshop. Let me give you something, guys. Every Monday through Friday, as a matter of fact, Monday through Sunday now, we have workshops at 2 p.m. and 10 p.m. You hear me? We have workshops running at multiple times. So that's the reason why we do our workshops right, and we do it with a lot of pride, because we take pride in empowering you. We take pride in empowering you. This workshop has empowered me, right? Who would teach a 23-year-old guy, in 2012 and start teaching me how money works, teaching me about our opportunity, giving me the opportunity not only to learn but earn and provide for my son at the time? Who would give this guy? They said that I have a learning disability. They told me that I wouldn't be nothing. And look at me today. They have empowered me to empower you. And that's what we want to continue to do. Put you in a position where you can empower your family. They said wealth is not the money. Money is not wealth, but it's knowledge. And the knowledge is wealth. Okay? Let me tell you something. I'd rather give you a whole lot of knowledge so you could pass that on, so that way you could stop the generational curse. The only reason why generational curse is still around for many of our family is because we never know the know-how. And if we don't know the know-how, we can't change things. So it's important for you to change things. So at the end of the day, what would you like to learn more about? What would you like to learn more about? Please let us know. We're going to give you some few options here. How about you could learn about how to become a student, get access to our workshop, right? That's A. Now, what about if you want to learn how to become a client? That's B. Or maybe you want to learn how to, learn and earn on a part-time basis if it didn't conflict with your current job. That is C. Please let us know. Either comment or, let us know. Or you could just pretty much share your feedback with us by texting 973-873-5977. Or you could email us at bshinerslegacy, right? bshinerslegacy movement at gmail.com, right? And share with us your feedback. Or get in touch with the person that invited you today. And, let them know what you'd like to learn more about within the next 24 to 48 hours. Let's get back in touch with you. I want you to take the moment to fill out a short survey, right? Fill out one of our short surveys and share your feedback with us, because we'd love to hear from you. So at the end of the day, also, if you're intrigued and if you're open and you want to learn a little bit more, you want to learn how you can become an educator with us, you want to learn about our campaign, you want to know what it feels like to do good things for people, we're holding an overview, all right? We have a virtual overview that we're hosting Tuesday at 7 p.m., this Tuesday at 7 p.m., and also Saturday at 12 p.m. We're hosting these events today, and these are Eastern time, okay? It's either me and my fiance or many of my other business partners and educators will actually come on and host this event and give you more information. But if you like what we're doing today and you want to come back and learn, you feel like, man, this was a lot of information. Man, that was a lot to take in. You could come back again. I want you to come back again and come learn the 4 steps to financial freedom. Mondays and Tuesdays and Fridays at 10 a.m., 12 p.m., and 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We are hosting these class where you could come on. You could dial in. If you can't actually be here on the physical Zoom, you could call in. Call 646-568-7788 and just enter our meeting ID 739-226-2726, right? Or you could come in on Zoom and use the ID number on a meeting ID, and then you can also use the password capital B lowercase s HYNAZ, which stands for Bishanas, and you have access. All right. So at the end of the day, before I close out, I also want to share with you that you're one decision away. You are one decision away from changing your future for the better. So always remember that the choice is always yours. So here's where we are with our campaign right now, right? You can check us out at our 30M, so that is 30m.worldsystembuilder.com. You can check out our 30M website, where we show you how many families our campaign have been educated so far. So we've already educated over 1.2 million families. But since, May 30th of this year, we've already educated as a campaign 204,244 people. So think about that. Think about that, and we want you to be one of them as well. So guys, please get in touch with us. Let us know how we can help you. Let us know how we can empower a lot of folks together, and we could change the world together, and let's go out there and make a difference. So I just want to thank you for tuning in. It's such a pleasure to be your host. My name is Keyon Corniffe, also known as Mr. Finance. And let not be this the last time. I hope you learned a lot from this, and let's go out there and go help families together, all right? So until next time, guys, God bless. I'll see you guys at the top. Have a great day. Bye-bye.